This video was requested by a member of our Discord, so join if you haven't already. Link is in the description below. Olympic mascots. I know what this is, you know what this is. We're just going to skip the minute-long intro. We're going to go straight for valdi. Now, in my opinion, a good mascot should be simple, marketable, family-friendly, and should say something about the host region. And for those reasons, I think valdi is a good starter mascot. He's colorful, he's got a fun but simple design, he's family-friendly, and dachshunds are very popular in Bavaria. He's a nice baseline that we can compare other mascots to. I think we're going to give him a very respectable B tier. Schnayman. This is our first Winter Olympics mascot. His name comes from the German word for snowman. He's also really creepy. This design is aged pretty poorly in my opinion. I mean, he is wearing a Tyrolean hat, so between that and the name, you do have the symbolism down, but there's something about the eyes they're so off-putting. I can't get behind this design. I don't like it. I don't think it's aged well. I'm going in D tier. Amik. His name means beaver in Algonquin, which is cool. You're never going to hear me complaining about referencing Native American culture. I'd say a beaver feels pretty appropriate as a mascot, but he just really lacks personality in my opinion. It's just a silhouette with a sash across it. Like, how exactly am I supposed to merchandise this? This is a really mid mascot design. I think we're going to go C tier. Roni. His name means raccoon in Iroquois. Again, very cool Native American references. It also references the Adirondacks, the mountains in which the games took place. This is a much more merchandisable design, and you can see him used a lot more in the advertising. I like Roni. I think he's got some personality. I think he's fun. I think he's definitely a product of his time, but overall, I don't hate him. I think we're going to slide him into B tier. Get it? Slide it because he's wearing ice. All right, never mind. Michael Potapich stopped again. Or Misha for short. Let's be honest, I think anything other than a bear would have been pretty inappropriate for a Russian Olympics, and honestly, love Misha's design. And so did everyone else at the time. Maybe not Republicans, but more or less everyone. He's definitely got a very cute design. You know, he's wearing a little weightlifter belt, which invokes some very strong, Russian imagery. It's kind of cool. It's kind of cute. He's fun. I think he's, again, product of his time. But overall, I think this is a fun, cute design. And we got to give him props for being the first massively successful sporting event mascot. So we're going to give Misha a strong A tier rating. I like Misha a lot. Vuko. Staying on the other side of the Iron Curtain, we have this surprisingly awesome wolf design. Wolves are pretty prominent in Yugoslavian fables, and so obviously it feels pretty appropriate. And also, I think, like I said, this is a really cool design. You know, he looks kind of intimidating, but he's got a big grin on his face. He's friendly. He's simple. You know, the nice use of color, thick lines. This is a fantastic design that I think has aged very well. I like Vuko a lot. I think he's going to be our first S tier mascot. Like, this is an awesome mascot. East Europe, you bring in the heat. Sam. Oh, I'm having visions of Reaganomics and Star Wars and distributing crack in low-income neighborhoods. To be fair, they were going to go with a California bear as the Olympic mascot, but as it turns out, bears as 1980s Olympic mascots is a surprisingly saturated market, so they went with the bald eagle, which is the obvious choice. I don't think there's anything blatantly wrong with Sam, but it just feels a little too over the top on the nose. Like, this is exactly what I would have expected for an American Olympic mascot during the height of the Cold War. I would have liked to have been surprised just a little bit, but no, this is everything I could have ever expected. Not bad, nothing blatantly wrong, but I think I'm gonna put him in B tier. Yeah, sorry America, they won this round. Heidi and Howie. The goofy names come from Canada's way of saying hello, which, alright, I guess if you want to out yourself, then it's fine. The region does have a history with cowboys, but it still just feels like a really weird choice. Like, who in their right mind hears cowboys and thinks, oh yeah, Alberta? Something about these designs is a little too off-putting for me, maybe a bit over-designed, I would say. We're gonna put these in, yeah, C tier. Hedori. His name roughly translates to male tiger, and yeah, checks out. Tigers are longtime symbols of South Korea, and Hedori is wearing a traditional Sangmo hat whose ribbon forms an S for Seoul. It also makes an S for S tier. There's just something about this design, this art style that's so classic, so timeless. It's gonna look good no matter how many years later that you're looking back on it. And I love the amount of symbolism here. It embodies Korean culture really well. This is an easy S for me. Majik. He's an imp? Maybe? I think. The name doesn't really have any significance, nor does the design. As far as I can tell, the designer just stuck a cube on top of a star and then called it a day. This is kind of a nothing mascot. He's going in D tier. Kobe. Kobe is a Pyrenean mountain dog drawn in a cubist art style. I'm not seeing it. The design was somewhat controversial upon its debut. I mean, it does come across as a pretty simple and basic design, but I'll be honest, he's grown on me. I think he's kind of cute and friendly, and I do like the references to local history and wildlife. I've really grown to respect Kobe. I think he's going in A tier. The Barcelona games were also the introduction of our first Paralympic mascot. Oh. I think it's better if I just don't comment on this and move on. Hakan and Kristen. These two were named after medieval Norwegian royalty, hence the Viking clothing. I do like the symbolism, but something about these designs is almost concerningly realistic. I mean, just the way their eyes stare into your soul, it's a little off-putting. I think we're gonna put him in C tier, and yeah. Izzy. What the fuck? The original name for this mascot was the What Is It, because even the designer didn't know what the hell kind of an abomination he had just created. A disastrous Olympics deserves an equally disastrous mascot. Only in that regard is Izzy perfectly designed. This thing was immediately and harshly panned from the outset, and it's not hard to see why. This is a horrifying, terribly creepy design with no symbolism or significance to the Atlanta region whatsoever. I think the only good thing to come out of this design was all the hilarious comments that people had to make on it. Other than that, this is an easy F tier. The Snowlitz. What is happening? What happened to all the good designs? Where did they go? What is this? Apparently the Snowlitz, named Suki, Noki, Leki, and Tsuki, represent fire, air, earth, and water, respectively, as well as the 4 major islands of Japan. That's cool, but I think you forgot to actually design the mascots. What is this? I think the symbolism is fine, but the design is so horrific that I can't put them anywhere above D tier. This is absolutely traumatizing. Sid, Ollie, and Millie. A platypus, kookaburra, and echidna, respectively, representing Sydney, the Olympics, and the new millennium, as well as water, air, and soil, because environmentalism was the hot new trend back in 2000. Along with the Snowlitz, these 3 demonstrate how this was an era of groups of Olympic mascots, which I think is kind of ridiculous. If you need more than 2, then you're probably not doing it well. Also, something about their design is just concerningly realistic looking, and I don't really care for the colors used here. Personally, I much prefer Fatso, but he's not exactly the most family-friendly mascot in the world. So we're just gonna put these in C tier. Powder, copper, and coal. These 3 represent Utah's natural resources and wildlife, as well as the Olympic motto, and a whole lot of other stuff. This just feels like it's trying to symbolize way too much to the point where it almost feels tacked on. Like, why are you trying to put so much effort and symbolism and lore into these characters that no one is gonna think or care about once these games are done? Or no one other than me, at least. I would much rather than pick 1 or 2 significant symbols of Utah and try and symbolize that instead of all of this. This is going in C tier. Phevos and Athena. These are supposed to represent Apollo and Athena, except they somehow drastically misspelled Apollo's name. The design is based off of an ancient Greek doll, which apparently caused a lot of controversy at the time. I'm more concerned with the fact that these look goofy as all hell. Still, I think this is a better design than a lot of other stuff on this list, and I do like the inspiration from ancient Greek culture. I think that's kind of cool. I think they are more than welcome to join our B-tier misfits. Neve and Gliz. Their names derive from the Italian words for snow and ice, hence a snowball and an ice cube, and... wait, that's it? I know I complained a minute ago about having too much symbolism, but really? Just names? That's all you got? Outside of that, there's nothing to tie these to Italy. Like, I could rename these whatever I wanted, and boom, instant new mascot for any Winter Olympics I want. This is just such a basic and bland design. I think this is an easy D tier. The Fua. Alright, so we got one for each ring, and one for each continent, and one for a different symbol of China, as well as one for each element, one for different sports categories. Alright, yep, no, that's it, I'm done. I don't know why you need to complicate them with this much symbolism, when frankly, the designs just by themselves are honestly pretty good. If these didn't have so much symbolism meaninglessly tacked onto them, then I would be more than happy to put them in A. But I feel like that dampens the experience a little bit, so we're just gonna settle them in B tier. Quachi, Miga, and Mukmuk. A Sasquatch, Vancouver Island Marmot, and a sea bear, part orca, part spirit bear. I like these designs. They're cute, they're simple, they're fun and friendly. They do a pretty decent job of showcasing Canadian wildlife and culture, and hell, I'll take them over Heidi and Howie. So we'll give them a nice B tier. Wenlock. God, not another one of these things. I don't care what lore you give him. I don't care what justifications for the little quirks he has are. This is a stupid design, and you should feel bad for designing it. To me, the only saving grace for this mascot is the name. Wenlock derives from the town of Much Wenlock, whose annual Much Wenlock Games happen to be the original source of inspiration for the modern Olympics. That is a shockingly cool and respectful reference to the game's history. For that reason alone, I will bump him up to D tier, but I think Wenlock, you need to live in shame of knowing that you were this close to joining Izzy in the absolutely nonsensical designs tier. The leopard, the hare, and the polar bear. Apparently Russia had a lot of difficulty when voting for a mascot, as evidenced by the fact that they couldn't even pick out a fucking name for these things. Also, I get the sneaking suspicion that I've seen this bear before. I like the choice of animals as mascots, but man, they just lack personality. There's nothing going on here. D tier. Vinicius. Finally, we have the first mascot in years to do it right. His design is supposed to be a mix of Brazilian animals, therefore representing Brazil's wildlife, while the Paralympic counterpart Tom represents Brazilian flora. And that's it. That's all the symbolism you need. It's simple, it's beautiful, but it represents their culture well. Plus, these are really simple, but fun and colorful designs that I think are going to age really well. I like these designs a lot. I think Vinicius is a strong A-tier mascot. Suharang. Yes, Korea, you are killing it with the tiger mascots. Now, some may say that Korea has already done a tiger mascot, and so they should lose points for copying off their own homework, but consider the following counterpoint. Tigers are cool. Not only that, but a white tiger feels like the perfect mascot for a Winter Olympics. Plus, it happens to be the sacred guardian animal of Korea, hence the name deriving from the words for protection and tiger. I just love this design. It's simple, but it's friendly, it's happy, it's an awesome art style as evidenced by the fact that the Paralympic counterpart is better than most normal Olympic mascots. This is a killer design, strong S tier contender, possibly my favorite Olympic mascot of all time. Mirai Toa. He's a superhero robot, which is kind of weird, kind of cool. I'm not sure we've ever seen anything quite like that before. The checker design mimics the logo for the games and is supposed to pay homage to the past while also looking to the future. While there's not a whole lot about the design that feels overtly Japanese, it does bring to mind Japanese animation and comics, which you can't deny that that's not a massive part of the culture over there. I think this is a cool design. It's pretty unique and fun. I think we're gonna put him in A tier. Bing Duen Duen. Frankly, I would be upset if China didn't pick a panda as their Olympic mascot, but a panda encased in ice still feels like a really weird, bizarrely specific choice. Also, I just don't think this design is really doing much for me. It looks kind of goofy. Personally, I prefer the Paralympic mascot Shui Ronron, which, as a snow-covered New Year's lantern, not only is blatantly Chinese, but also represents the season and time of year in which the games take place. There's nothing overtly bad about this design, but I don't think there's anything great about it either, so we're gonna go middle of the road C tier. And finally, the Frige. All these symbols of France, but nope, you picked the guillotine hat. It just feels like a bizarrely specific choice as an Olympic mascot, although I can't deny that they're not cute and well designed, so I will give them a respectable B tier. And that's the tier list. I think it turned out pretty well. Thanks again to Sridashay for giving me the idea. Comment in the comments below what you would change, and yeah, if there's anything we learned today, it's that Korea makes some pretty kick-ass tigers.